Hey, Tony Gaskins here. Now, I want to pop in and touch on this here topic because it kind of goes hand in hand with the topics that I did on Sunday and Monday, where I was talking about mean men. And a lot of ladies in the comments on the how to deal with a mean man was in the comments like, hey, it's simple. Don't deal with them. Don't deal with a mean man. And that sounds good and that's cute and all. But realistically, we know that 99% of women go through Satan house and high water when dealing with a man. So it's best to just be realistic and understand that when you get in a relationship, for one, the man is not going to be mean day one. So you're going to have already become either pregnant or married or fallen in love before you really see the mean streak. So go back to that video, watch it again, learn the tips and tools. And I'm really speaking on that one for marriage, because in marriage, you just can't walk away. I mean, you can, but you're not supposed to, because you're dealing with a human being. You're going to go through things. And it's important to understand that everybody has seasons in life. So women have seasons, men have seasons, and these seasons can get deep. They can get dark. They can get desperate. It can be desolate. It can be destitute. It gets real. And it's in those seasons where you got to stand in the gap for your spouse, and you praying them through it, you supporting them through it, you speaking life into them, you learning more about you learning more about them, and you doing what it takes to make the relationship work. Because if we just throw our hands up and quit, the first time our human has a breakdown or goes through spiritual warfare, then we'll never have successful marriages. Every successful marriage has gone through tough times. You will not meet anybody who is successfully married who will tell you it has always been easy. There's never been challenges. There's never been human error, human flaws, and bad decisions made in the relationship. Anybody tells you that, they either not really together, sleeping with other people, or just a cover up for society. So understand that. And the reason how you know that is because you're a human, and because you deal with humans, and you've never really dealt with a human that is not problematic. If you've been really close and in the trenches with that human, every human has our ways, our quirks. We all are something. We all a number to deal with. And it's in one way or the other. Sometimes it's in like good, fun, quirky, corny ways. And then sometimes it's in, deeper, darker ways. But every human has their ways, and you have to decide if you can put up with it or not, and how long you're going to deal with it. But what I want you to understand is about men, and this is good for men to understand themselves, because not everybody with male body parts understand or can articulate what we go through and what we feel. But one thing about men is we, on average, of course, nothing is absolute. Nothing is every single person. There are, differences in there. But on average, men, we take chances. We take chances. We push it to the limit. We are risk takers. When you think about it, women who are workers of their body, they sell their body, they're in business because of men. When you think about the strip clubs, they're in business because of men. The casino is in business because of men. Well, lately, the last time I was in a casino, last couple times I was in a casino staying at the hotel. Something I had to do in Vegas. Oh, Summer League. I was in Summer League, and so I was staying at the hotel. And every hotel in Vegas has like a casino in it. If it's a nice hotel, probably raggedy ones with that too. But the man to woman ratio looked like 50-50. I was like, wow, this is crazy. I didn't know women gamble like that. So that one right there may be a little different. And I don't know what the industry is like in the strip club or with the people who sell their body. That could be 50-50 today. I don't know. But men, we do a lot of, for lack of a better term, stupid stuff. We do a lot of stupid stuff. Now, on Netflix, they released the documentary of the Steve McNair situation and how, you know, he was killed and he was found dead, and the woman that he was dealing with was found dead. And I gotta watch it again and try to see and figure it out if it was like their lives were taken by somebody else, or if it was she took his life and then took her life. But the friend found him, and then before calling the police, he called the other friend, and then they called the police. So that seemed a little sketchy, unless they was trying to hide something for Steve. But that's what I mean by the type of stuff that we do as men. So I remember a rapper named Trouble, which I don't know his music, that he died dealing with a woman. Then the rapper Pop Smoke, he died dealing with a woman. The NFL player, I think Sean Taylor, I think he was with a woman when he died. And then Steve McNair, as I just mentioned. And you probably, and if you think about in your city, in your family, and other industries that you follow, where you probably know of instances where men died dealing with a woman, just sleeping around or dealing with the wrong woman, wrong time, wrong season. So as men, we do a lot of stuff that just really does not have rationale. Like they say 70% of Americans cannot touch $1,000 right now. And you could look at your bank account and see if you in that 70% that can't touch $1,000. I see it every day, being someone who has products that are available. Speaking of, click the link in the description for the investment opportunity to be able to invest in the future earnings of the YouTube channel. So if this is your first video and you didn't know about that, they might be your lucky day. So click that. I can't talk about it on here because it's SEC regulated, so can't talk numbers and stuff on here. All the information is on the page. The Form C is on the page. And then the Q&A, where if you have a question and you can read everybody else's question. But join us. Last I checked, we about halfway to the minimum threshold. If we don't hit the minimum, then it doesn't go through. Like, everybody will be refunded and go about our merry way. And I'm kind of impartial on it because it's one of the things where I just trust God. Like, if God say my supporters should be in this here situation and receiving payouts monthly for the rest of my YouTube life, then good. If it doesn't happen, then then good. But check it out, see if it is a fit for you. If not, no love lost. But as you think about it, like, men, we do things. So if 70% of people can't touch $1,000, why are we gambling? If 70% of people, Americans, can't touch $1,000, why are we paying for these subscriptions out here, like the OnlyFans and all of that? Like, I seen a young lady, it was a video on Instagram or somewhere, or TikTok, and it was a young white lady. She looked so young. She honestly looked like she could be 16, 17 years old, but obviously she's grown. She was saying she's making like $350,000 a month from her sexual content on OnlyFans. And it's a lot of other people out there that's making money like that too. And for the most part, I would have to assume, I don't know for a fact, but if they release their numbers, I would have to assume 80 to 90% of that is men. Probably 90%. I don't understand. I don't see why a woman would subscribe to that unless they just want to be nosy or unless they into it too. But it's just crazy to me, the things that we do as men. So I want you to understand this. And the reason why I'm giving this backstory, and I know for those of y'all who you just passing by and you just jumping in, you just trying to get right to the answer, then this is not a channel for you. You know, we do deep dives and real learning here. So God bless you. You know, keep your head up on the journey. Pray everything go well with you. But when you think about this and you look at this, now you start to understand why men push a woman away. And the reason being is for the path of least resistance. So what I mean by that is we want, and I'm speaking for a man, if this applies to women, then I will let the women figure that out. I'm not a woman. I don't know how a woman think, how a woman move, but I understand men. What we want as men, and remember, I'm not speaking of every single man. I'm speaking on average and the majority, but not every single man. There may be exceptions to the rule, like 1 out of 1,000. But what we want is we want to get away with as much as we possibly can. We want the most comfortable, easiest type of setup that we can have. So that's why some men had 1,000 wives and 1,000 concubines in the Bible, because it made sense, because you don't have to deal with the same woman every hour of the day. Like, you could deal with this woman at 8, deal with this woman at 9, and all these different women, they got a different voice, they got a different smile, they got a different thing, they got a different personality, and it just is this playground of exploration. You just exploring the human anatomy, and you just having a ball until Ecclesiastes come around and you realize it's all vexation of spirit. It's futile. The man who got a bunch of women and the man who got no women, both of them gonna die. The man who got one woman and the man who got 1,000, both of them gonna die. The man who claimed to be happy and the man who claimed to be depressed, both of them gonna die. So, but the thing is, as men, we want to create a playground. And this could be a human condition, but we want to create a playground. The cars, the watches, the clothes, the women, the gadgets, the toys, the video games, whatever it may be, the gambling, the sporting events, the fantasy leagues, all of that. I'm not in a fantasy league and I don't gamble and I don't play video games, but I get it and I understand it. I used to play women, and that was a game in itself. Me and my homeboys, we used to go to the clubs like, hey, let's see who get 5 numbers tonight. Whoever get 5 numbers first win, or whoever get 5 numbers win. And that was our sport. That was our game. We didn't have the thing where you sit on the video game and play each other in the game back then. So we were hunting, doing our thing. And then we also, as men, we play Russian roulette. Not in the real sense, but like sleeping around, because you could be sleeping with another woman, and she could be a loose woman. She could be desperate, desolate, destitute. She could be heartbroken, and so she cheating on her guy. You don't know it. You sleeping with this strange woman, this woman from the book of Proverbs, I think like Proverbs chapter 5, where it talk about the strange woman. You sleeping with this woman and you could lose your life. It's a lot of men who have lost their life because they inserted themselves into the wrong woman. And they didn't know that this woman was tied up with this crazy controlling man. They didn't know it, but guess what? They were in fornication with that woman. And being in fornication with that woman, the wages of sin is death. Fornication is a sin. So as men, we do these stupid things, and it is to keep our minds active and to get away from the monotony of our lives. It's due to a lack of purpose, because we are here to live a life of purpose. So when a man is not tapped into his purpose, we could work a job and we could be in corporate or what have you, but we still have to tap into purpose. What I mean by that is, a man could work for the electric company, which is not a purpose-based job, but outside of that job, he needs to have like his children in sports or in some type of activities that he can immerse himself in and have something to look forward to, have something to support, have somebody to push in something that is purposeful for him. He may need to coach little league sports. He may need to volunteer at the church or be a pastor or work at the soup kitchen. A man has to tap into purpose. Now, it's not a one size fits all. It doesn't mean that just because a man taps into purpose, he's going to be 100% faithful and amazing man. It does not always work out like that. That's why if you watch your news, you will see your police officers, your pastors, your school principals, your presidents, or whoever. You will see men of purpose still doing stupid stuff. You will see men who are in a position of perceived purpose and prestige or power. It's a position, it's a platform, and they crooked. They're crooked, or they're underhanded, they're sneaky, or they're manipulative, or they're greedy. We've been talking about like pastors and stuff like that, raising money and in sketchy ways and for just unnecessary reasons sometimes, and or it could be a necessary reason, but it's just tone deaf and insensitive for how they go about it a lot of times. And so, but here's somebody who their work could be inspiring somebody, could be changing lives, could be touching tens, hundreds, thousands, hundreds of thousands, or millions of people, and yet the man still is manipulative or crooked, sketchy, a cheater, a liar, a deceiver. So it just goes to show you the human dynamic. And that's what you got to understand when you're dealing with a man, is you have to realize that you're dealing with a flawed human being. And you're dealing with somebody who, from the beginning of time, has been flawed. Now, Adam did not appear flawed other than being disobedient to God. But their children, Cain and Abel, right there, like, here go the first recorded siblings, the first recorded children on the face of the earth, according to the Bible. And here they is, O Block, Bill Street, 63rd, 64th. Like, here go one brother sliding on the other brother out of jealousy. And so that just shows you human nature. And that's what you got to realize and understand. So what a man wants is what is not good for him. So we want ease as humans. It's kind of like, and if you're a woman watching this, I'm going to help you understand. Like, think about if you had a husband and he didn't make you work. He told you, hey, you don't have to work and you don't have to clean because I'm going to get us a house cleaner, and you don't have to cook because I'm going to get us a chef, and you can drive, but you don't have to drive because I have us a driver. So you can get in the back seat of the Rolls Royce Cullinan or the Escalade, and you could be driven to the grocery store. And you don't have to go in and get the groceries because we got the app to order ahead. They're going to bring it out to your car. Or you don't even have to go to the grocery store because it's grocery delivery service. So you don't have to go there. So what I want you to do is, when you wake up, like, read your Bible and then go to Pilates, go to the gym. Then after you do that, shower, at the gym, and then go get your hair done, then go get your hands done, go get your feet done, and then go get a massage. And then after that, go get you something nice to eat at lunch down at Prime 112, Ocean Prime. And then, you can, the driver will take you to pick up the kids from school or daycare. And then you come on home, and then I'm going to have the tutors come over. You can, sit there and monitor or what have you, but you're not that strong in math, so I'm going to have the tutors come over, and the tutor's going to tutor the kids. And then you're going to have a nanny to help you. So if you need to do something else, you working on your planner or writing your book or working on your nonprofit organization idea, the nanny can bathe the kids, or you could bathe the kids, read a book to them, and then put them in the bed. And then after that, just relax. So you see how, like, But the thing is yes, it sounds good in the comments to say, no, I would never want that. No, I want to drive my kids to school. I want to pick them up. I want to cook every day. I want to clean every day. No, I don't want a husband that's going to get my hair done and my nails done and massages. No, I don't want any of that. It sounds good. But if you actually had the opportunity to have it, it's not many women that have turned it down. And I know women who live that lifestyle. You know, I have guy friends who their wife lives that lifestyle, and even more than that, even on another level, like get on a private jet and go to Europe and or Asia on a private jet, which that flight is like 100,000 to 250,000. Chill over there 2 weeks, 3 weeks, do every excursion, everything you could think of, then come back on the private jet. Like, I know people who live like that for real, and they're not turning it down. And I remember when I met somebody who lived like that, and the guy, he was talking to me about his lady when he met her, and he was bragging, and he was like, not bragging, but he was like happy. He was like, yeah, man, she's so nonchalant, she's so chill, like, she don't even wear Tory Burch. Like, she cool with Payless. Like, she don't ask me for a dime. She's everything cool. Talked to him some years later after they got married. I said, yeah, how's that, you know, humble, amazing, low maintenance wife you got? He said, man, she flying around the world on a private jet. She doesn't own a shoe that's less than $1,000 now. We got assistants, nannies, chef, driver, taking care of her family, mom, dad, sister. Oh, okay. That's human nature. That's human nature. If we can be afforded comfort and ease, we're not going to pick a struggle. If we can have comfort and ease. It just, and God bless you if you will pick the struggle. Here's a cookie. Congratulations, clap it up. We're all happy for you. Okay, here go award. Put this on your neck. There you go. But so that's what men are looking for. A man want to be able to take all his pain out, frustration out on that woman if he can. If not a punching bag, he'll have that woman as a punching bag. He will have that woman as a do girl. Cook, clean, woman strung out, tired, and then come get on your bike. Come get on your bike and give something up, and then he still may not appreciate you, still may talk down to you, and then may want to cheat on you with your sister, with your best friend, with your professor, with your cousin, with your mentor, with another woman. If a man has the opportunity, a lot of men will fall into that space. And when you think about it, like, there's men who had all the wisdom and yet would fall into sin. It's human. And the adversary is sneaky. The adversary is persistent. And so that's what happens is a man comes in, and instead of therapy, he will make the woman his verbal and or physical or emotional punching bag. Verbal, physical, or emotional trash can. And the woman will have to deal with his mouth. And then if the woman got a headache or her menstrual is on, if he has the ability to go sleep with another woman, then your average man would. Now, this is what I'm speaking of is like your average everyday man that you will meet that has not been renewed by Christ, that has not been held accountable by his mother, his father, and does not have a real walk with God. Now, outside of that, a man who has a real walk with God, you're not going to have to deal with all this because he's going to have a conviction in his spirit. So understand that. And I know a lot of people right now, if this premiere, this is not live. So if you see this and you see comments going, this is a premiere. A premiere means it's not live. I mean, I shot it earlier and I just set it up to stream live. But I know a lot of people might be being negative in the comment. Oh, this just depressing. Oh, this this and that. But see, the thing about it is we all will be shocked if we could go behind the curtain. If we as men could see the stuff that women do when we're not looking, and hear the stuff that women say when we're not in the room, and hear the real thoughts of a woman, we would be disgusted. We would be shocked and appalled. We would be in dismay. Just like women who say they don't trust women, and women who say they don't hang around women like that. They rather hang around guys because they don't trust women. So if a woman don't trust a woman, if women don't like women, how is a man supposed to trust and like a woman? So I want you to think about that. So when I talk about this, sometimes it can sound like doom and gloom, but what I'm talking about is the human disposition. What I'm talking about is how when we are left to ourselves and we don't get to know Christ, when we just do what the adversary wants us to do. And to put this in plain thinking, I want you to picture like a Offset, the rapper, who so time after time after time again, these posts was going out about he cheated on Cardi B. And then another thing come up, he cheated on Cardi B. Another thing come up, cheated on Cardi B. And that's what I mean by how if a man has the money and he has the access, and the woman will give him the rope, give him the leeway to do stuff like that and get away with it, a lot of men will do it. Not every man, but a lot of men will do it. And when you see the way that men get, like the young lady, and I know the young lady because she followed me on Twitter and she followed me on Instagram, Money Long, M-U-N-I. And it had that song Body to Body. And I just seen that she going through a divorce. Now, she followed me online. She didn't reach out to me, so that's how I could mention this. Had she reached out to me, I couldn't even say nothing about that just due to client confidentiality. But I'm not her coach. But you can see, I seen a picture they posted, and the man looked mean in the picture. It's like, I've had my mean days, but if you see me in a picture with my wife, it's going to be at least a type of pleasant smirk. If not, now since I done had braces, a complete big old smile. And even if I done had a mean day, I'm still finna smile. But when somebody look mean in a picture, then you know they terrible outside of that camera. The same thing with Kanye West. It's like, so here we have men who have women who can carry their own, who can work and make millions and got all of this, and we'll see these men still cheat on these women. And that's what a lot of women want. They want to be successful. A lot of women want to have their own money, want to have their brand or their company or what have you. And we see it in the church with a lot of pastors that cheat on their wife. We see it in the schoolhouse with principals, professors. We see it with police officers. We see it across the board. So this is the thing about the nature of men. So you got to understand that if you don't check a man early, if you don't check him early and you reinforce grown boy behavior, he is going to take you through the ringer. So for whatever reason and somehow, my wife became the first woman to like check me and hold me accountable. And I think it's because she read my book. Because not long after we got together, we got together and then together a couple months, and she left me after a couple months. A lot of pressure from her ex. Me went back to my ex. You know how it is. You just meet somebody and just trying to figure your way out. So it wasn't really like nothing super real. And we was apart for 6 months, and then we bumped back into each other. Just happenstance. I give the glory to God now. I'm not saying that that's what it was, but it worked out. We bumped back into each other. We hit it off. We got back together. And I can't remember when that was of that year. It could have been like June of 2006. I started writing my book maybe around November, December, January, something like that. And I published my book February 1st of 2007. And so it was like it was around this time and throughout this process, my wife read the book, and that's when she learned about the man that I was. Sometimes a lot of women be like, "Oh, Tony, you was out there and you was living that life. You know, is it fair for your wife to be with you?" My wife didn't find that out till she was pregnant. Like, that's when I wrote the book and told my story. She didn't ask me how many women I had slept with. And when I asked her later, I was like, "Why didn't you ask that question?" For one, she's just not like a insecure person. Like she have her own insecurities, but she just is emotionally intelligent. So she's not the type of person to hound me and chase me and beg me and bug me and nag me. None of that. Like, she's emotionally intelligent. So she never asked me how many women had you been with. She told me she just looked at me and she could tell that I could have women if I wanted women. And she said she didn't want to know the answer. Because had she asked me and I gave her the answer, so she lived by don't ask if you don't want to know. And so she just gave me the benefit of the doubt and let me show her who I was in that season of my life. But when she read my book, she learned about the life I had lived. And I remember my mom called me and was like, "Yeah, your cousin called me and asked me, do you have AIDS?" And I was like, "What?" I'm like, she was like, "Yeah, because your book kind of saying that you was with a lot of women. She wondering, do you have AIDS?" And I'm guessing men don't talk to women like that, because I'm like, y'all acting like I'm the only man that has been out here sowing wild oats. I'm like, do y'all not know men? And essentially my mom was like, "No, we don't." And the book was titled What Daddy Never Told His Little Girl, because a 32-year-old woman who worked in the finance department at my university read the book. And she said she was a daddy's girl. And she said, "Tony, I read your book," because I asked her to read it and give me her feedback, because she was 10 years older than me. I was 22 when I wrote the book. So I said, "Give me your feedback on this book, because you're a decade older than me." And she said, "Okay, I'll read it." So she read the book and she came back to me and she said, "Tony, I'm a daddy's girl and I've never heard any of this stuff in this book." And she was like, "My dad ain't tell me none of this." So I was like, "Okay, well, let's title it. I'm going to title it What Daddy Never Told His Little Girl." And so the thing is that what I'm doing on this channel is you can't get in your feelings, because you already dealing with men that I'm talking about on a daily basis. It's just you don't have the playbook to his mind. You don't get to go behind. You've never been behind the curtains. But the man I'm describing is your ex-boyfriend. The man I'm describing might be your current boyfriend or fiance or husband, meaning that we as men, we are learning and growing. And if we can get away with something, if we can have 3 women, then we'll have 3 women. If we can take our stress and frustration and anger out on somebody else, then we'll take it out on somebody else. Like, humans just don't choose the high road. We are pushed to the high road. We're taught about the high road. We're instructed to the high road. So when I went to raise my voice at my wife, she said, "Hey, don't talk to me like that." She checked me. So when she not checked me, I would have raised my voice, and I would have been raising my voice for the rest of our relationship. But she checked me. When I took and told my wife, "Hey, I'll be back to your place at 9 o'clock. And I came back like wee hours of the morning, because when I got back with my wife, I had a modeling troupe of girls, and they was called the Dazzling Dimes. Somebody watched my video and was like, "Tony, I tried out for the Dazzling Dimes in Florida back in the day when I was at Bethune-Cookman. I ain't know Dazzling Dimes was yours." Dazzling Dimes was mine out of Tampa, Florida, but my homeboy, who also went to Bethune-Cookman after his football career was over, he spread it up there and he joined forces with me, and then we created a MySpace page, and we ended up with 88. The last number I seen was 88 women in that group, Dazzling Dimes. And what the Dazzling Dimes used to do is we would go to the club and they would twerk on the stage, and they was like party host. But I was the creator of it. And so when I got back with my wife, I hadn't started that. in our 6-month hiatus. So for the first little bit, you know, she knew she couldn't just come in and just regulate because we was getting back together, getting back to know each other. So she went on one of our VIP, I call it VIP eye candy. She went with us. I had the Dazzling Dimes in the back seat lapped up, and I put my wife in the front seat, and I was in my daddy little Lexus IS 250 or 350. So it was a small car, and they lapped up back there. And one of the Dazzling Dimes was a young lady that I was trying to, that I had talked to, but we had never done nothing. So she had a little jealousy in her heart, because now here come my wife, a little slimmer than her, a little fitter than her, you know, different complexions. So, you know, the colorism thing and all of that. So she back there sucking her teeth. She mad. But that's the life that I was living at that time. And, but, so one of my models was booked by very big, prominent NBA players. And because the guy in his circle knew about the Dazzling Dimes, and they called me, it was like, hey, we want such and such. Such want to see such and such. So I took her, picked her up, and drove her to the hotel. And, you know, she went in the room with the player. I didn't know what they did. The door was cracked, so I guess that was just his rule for safety or whatever, so nobody can't say nothing. He got witnesses. I don't know if they did something or not. I didn't ask her, but she ain't finished. She ain't come out of there about 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning. So then I got her, and then I drop her off. Then I go back to my wife, who was my new girlfriend again for the second time around. First time we talked for about 2 months, 3 months. So she had the door locked. And I'm knocking on the window. I'm like the movie, throwing little pebbles at the window. I know it's called window, but I say wonder. And so I'm hitting the window with the pebbles, and she didn't answer. So then the next day, she wake up later that next day, and she hit me back, and she's like, hey, if you say you're going to do something, then do it. Don't tell me you're going to be over at 9, and then I'm waiting up till midnight, 1 o'clock, and I don't hear from you. I don't know where you at. I don't know what you're doing. And so, boom, right there, I learned my lesson. If I give her my word, I got to keep my word, because she's not finna let me in. She's not giving no concessions. So what my wife did with me, and this is how I learned this lesson as well, is every maladaptive behavior that I exhibited, she checked it right away. And that's what helped tame a dog. That's what helped train the dog in me, by getting checked. But see, what other women would do, if I raised my voice, they would shut up and sit down, which is reinforcing me raising my voice. Or if I raise my voice, they would raise their voice, which is reinforcing me raising my voice. If I say I'm gonna scoop you at 7 and I'm ghost, and then they hear from me at 10, they answer the phone, hey, where you been? I miss you. Why you didn't call? Instead of reprimanding me and saying, hey, listen, don't play with me like that. Do not play with my time. Do not. So they would just reinforce the behavior. So when you meet a man is going to test you. The same way a little boy gonna test his mama. The same way a little boy gonna test his teacher. The same way a little boy gonna test his coach. That is human nature. Not human nature, I don't know the woman nature, but the male nature is we test our limits. That's why men die from 100+ mile an hour car crashes. Men die from taking risk. The gun range, shootouts, drive-bys, home invasions, armed robberies. Men die in the craziest ways because we test the limits. So the reason why a man pushes a woman away is because we want to take a woman all the way to her limit to see how much can we get away with. Can we get away with yelling? Can we get away with cursing? Can we get away with lying? Can we get away with deception? Can we get away with manipulation? Can we get away with fornication? Can we get away with cheating? Can we get away? Get away. What all can we get away with? And in the process of doing this, the woman getting tested. Now, if the woman don't have a father who has given her the game, or a brother who has given her the game, she's going to be bewildered. She's going to be like, man, what is going on? Like, why am I having to put up with this? Why do it feel like it's just a bunch of games being played? And why do I have to be dealing with this? And like, how do I deal with it? Like, I don't want to like say nothing like in a aggressive tone, or I don't know what tone to do it in, because I feel like he might get mad, he might go off, he might cut me off, he might be done with me. Like, what is enough rope to give this man? Like, how much do I forgive? How much, like, what do I shut down? What do I say? And what women fail to realize is that you have to set your standard, and you got to stand on your standards. The root word of standard is stand. I don't know if that's the root word or not, but it's in there. Stand. You have to stand on your standards. Now, I made that up. Now, you hear somebody else say that, and you know where it comes from. You got to stand on your standards. And what you have to realize is, although you're dealing with a risk taker, you're dealing with a very smart, adaptable human being. A man is, we of the two genders, y'all, we the smarter gender. Listen, I know y'all, what? This the red pill channel. Oh my goodness. What I mean by this is, if you drop us off in the woods, we could survive. And it ain't even just about smarts too. It is also smarts, but it's also just how we built. We built for survival. If you drop us off in the jungle, if you drop us off in the trenches, if you drop us off in the worst neighborhood, we have a better chance of making it out than a woman. Because a man will lose his life if he come to strong arm me trying to take my innocence. But imagine if a man go to a woman and he try to take her innocence. If she is not like Clarissa Shields or like Ronda Rousey, and even them, they still probably can only beat maybe 30% of men. And a man ain't even really got to be trained in the sport. It's just we naturally are fighters, warriors, just how God made us, survivors, because it's our job to protect the family and provide for the family. And that's why a man without God is destitute. That's why we do these things that I'm describing when we don't have a fear and a reverence for Christ. When we don't have a relationship, we do these things. But when we come into the knowledge of the Lord, and we have a fear and a reverence for the Lord, then that's when our spirit can be convicted. And that's when we can self-correct. But until then, we have to be inched that way. And a lot of times we inch that way by, remember my quote that says, you teach people how to treat you by what you stop, what you allow, and what you reinforce. That comes from behavioral science. I just put it in my own words. But you teach people how to treat you by what you stop, what you allow, what you reinforce. So often women will be like, well, Tony, how do I tell a man this? And I'm like, you just tell him. Like, you just don't yell it, don't curse, don't cry, but just tell him. Like, in a time of peace, you prepare for war. So you tell him and you say, hey, listen, I really am not in the stage of my life to play games. So if that's the stage that you're in, then we're not a fit for each other. Like, I expect you to stand on your word and what you say, I expect you to do. And if you just not there yet, like, it's cool. It's no love lost, but I'm going to see what you do, and I'm going to recognize patterns, and I'm not here to try to raise you. I'm not here to try to train you. I'm not here to try to change you. Like, you are a grown man, and if you can't be a man of your word, and if you can't be honest and trustworthy and straightforward, then please, like have a heart and do me the favor and save me the heartache and save me the time of having to run behind and put up with your games. Just like that. But in your own words, that's how I would say it if I was a woman. That's how I would tell my daughter to say it. Because as men, we straight shooters. Like, we don't respect beating around the bush. We do not respect crying. We do not respect yelling. In order to get a man attention, the best way to get a man attention is in a normal tone. In a normal tone with direct language, without profanity, without name calling, without disrespect. If you do any of that, you're going to lose that man. And he might return the favor, and it might be 10x'd. So the way we respond to a normal tone better than we respond to yelling. Like, we really don't respect or fear yelling, because yelling is a sign of weakness, and so is crying. And a lot of women, when they want to get a message through to a man and they really is serious, they either yelling or crying. But when you learn how to get ahead of the problem and you learn how to address things in a time of peace, like before it gets out of hand, before you get into an actual argument, before you in the heat of battle, you didn't already address what you expect during the seasons of test and the seasons of spiritual warfare. You didn't already let it be known what you will and won't tolerate, and what your deal breakers are once y'all become like official, so to speak, or you right there at the door getting ready to be official. You didn't already expressed it. So if you don't give somebody the rubric for the assignment, then they're going to create their own rubric for the assignment. And it's going to be comfort and ease. It's going to be whatever is pleasurable. It's going to be whatever placates and pacifies. It's not going to be some stringent, strict situation. Like, it's going to be the real deal. I mean, it's just going to be set up for them to win. It's going to be a win-lose situation. When you leave stuff up to humans, and pay attention to this in your friendship, in your parenting, in your business dealings, if you don't set the standard, set the tone, set boundaries, and have some type of structure of what is a win for you, you will get a loss. You will get handed a loss. If you go to somebody and they be like, hey, you know, let's do a business deal. And I got a company and I couldn't give a lot of attention to it. And I had 75%. And it's my idea. It's my brand. I was marketing, promoting it out the gate. And I say, hey, I'm 75%, I'm gonna give you 25%. And then after I realized I ain't have a lot of time for it, I'm like, hey, I'm gonna turn the whole thing over to you, let you have it. And then my partner was like, okay, well, actually, can you keep 10% so I could use your face and name on the marketing materials and stuff like that? And I was like, okay, cool. But they didn't say, hey, no, actually, let's at least at the bare minimum do 50-50, because this your idea. Like, you brought the idea of starting a company to me, and it's your brand that's going to get us any type of traction on the email list. Like, you going to get us off the ground. It's your connections. It's your money that you funding us with. At the least, let's do 50-50. That wasn't said, because if you don't set the standards, if you don't tell what's a win for you, a human gonna hand you a losing situation, a losing proposition. And you got to realize and understand that. So the way that this looks is, and for lack of a better term, and I hate to express it like this, but it's no different than raising a child. It's no different than training a dog. It's no different than training an employee. I know the red pill men who watching this being nosy, they mad. What? Man, hey, this such and such just said. He telling these HOs that It's like training a dog. Man, see, that's what I'm tired of these simps. Man, I'm tired of these simps. They always pandering. And that's what they're saying, but it's the same. Honestly, it's the same thing. It's just like, think about it. When you train your dog and you don't want your dog to do something. Hey, nope. Nope. Come on, let's go over here. Then boom. When the dog pee outside, boop, here go this treat. So it's the same thing when you're dealing with a human. You're like, hey, do not talk to me like that. I know we're not agreeing right now, but do not raise your voice at me. And if he proceed to raise his voice, walk off. You walk off, because your presence, I heard a pastor say this one time, I think his name might have was Craig Lewis, I can't remember exactly. He said your presence sanctions the environment. But he was talking about like secular music, like listening to Jay-Z music or something like that, or going to their concert or something like that. But it applies in this arena as well. Like if you reinforce the behavior, you're saying that behavior is okay. So every single time something happens that is disrespectful, that's outside of your boundaries. So his mama called you, hey, my son called me and said that you said this or you said that, or you did this or you did that. And I'm gonna just tell you, woman to woman. Excuse me, ma'am. Excuse me. I don't mean any disrespect, but I'm in a relationship with your son and not you. And so your son is gonna have to come to the point where he can talk directly to me, because I'm not gonna be in a relationship with the both of y'all. Because if I'm gonna marry him and have his kids, that's who I'm gonna deal with. So if it's any advice that you have for your son, please share that advice with him. If she go to yelling or screaming or she going off or whatever, or you can let her say everything and then you tell her that. But you checking it right there. And then you go to him and you say, hey, I want to talk to you about something. Oh, here we go. What you want to, oh my goodness. What is it? What is it? What did I do now? Hey, listen, I just want to tell you, like, I'm in a relationship with you. I'm not in a relationship with your mom. And when you're in a relationship, you need to treat your relationship like a house. You lock your doors. You close your blinds when you don't want strangers peeking in. Like, we can't be taking our business to our friends and family, because your friends and family don't love me. My friends and family don't love you. They don't understand. So if we're going to work through these things, we have to do this as adults, and we got to come together and we got to work through it. Because your mom not getting in the bed with us. She's not going to be at the altar with us when we get married. And she's not finna be in the delivery room pushing out the baby for me. So you check it right there. So now he know, okay, that's a sucker move. Going to my mama, telling her all our business, that's a sucker move. Going to my homeboy, telling him all the business, and then he's saying little slick stuff, and he's subbing about my woman on Facebook or on wherever, and my woman know he's subbing her, that's a sucker move. So now he checked on that. So now he know he can't yell at you. Now he know he can't give you his word and say, hey, I'm going to pick you up at 7, or we doing a date on 7 o'clock Friday night, or I'll be back over there to your spot by 9 o'clock. And then, boom, he show up 1 o'clock in the morning and expect to get in. Now he know he got to stand on his word, that his word has to be his bond. And his yay got to be yay, his nay got to be nay. Now he know he can't be taking y'all business to outsiders. He know he can't curse at you. He know you not finna do no threesome. He know he can't cheat on you. He know he can't be having all these female friends and all this kiki going on in the text message and all of that, and talking all time of night. And these women don't know who you are, and you ain't talked to them, you ain't met them, and all of that. Like, whatever it is you not cool with, and you know you're not operating from insecurity, then you got to speak up and you got to stand on that. And now what you have to realize is a man pushes a woman away because at the point that you walk away, everything that you dealt with and everything that you reinforce up until that point, that lets him know that that's what's acceptable. That he could do all of this up until this right here, and that's the straw that breaks the camel's back, or that's what you not cool with. And so that's what he's gonna assume. So then that's when he'll come and say, hey, please give me another chance. I want you back. I miss you. I love you. I want to be with you. Because he learned how much he could get away with. So he want to get you back to bring you back in and then never push you that far again. It does not mean he's not going to push you again. Does not mean he's not going to test you. He's going to test you again. But you have to, for lack of a better phrase, move the goalpost on them, but not back. You actually, in this case, you moving it forward. You letting them know like, nope, that's not acceptable. Nope, that's not acceptable. Nope, back up. You trying me. Nope, you trying me. Nope. And so you have to stand on that. And the through line has to be respect. You're not trying to have no lapdog. You're not trying to castrate the man. You're not trying to emasculate the man. You're not trying to do any of that. What you're trying to do, what you're doing, not what you're trying to do, what you're doing is letting him know that you're not going to tolerate games. You're not going to tolerate deception, manipulation, coercion, any form of abuse, lies, cheating. You want to be in a healthy, whole, reciprocal, mutually loving relationship. You want to be in a relationship with your counterpart, with your teammate, not your opponent, with your spouse. You want to be in a relationship with somebody that you can let your hair down with, somebody you can be vulnerable with, somebody you can love, you can trust, you can confide in. And it's not you versus him and y'all against each other. It's you and him against the problems of the world. And so you letting him know, if you're gonna come in my life and bring peace, bring stability, bring maturity, bring encouragement, bring advancement, and I'm gonna bring the same thing to your life. Both of us come to the table with the dishes prepared. We have prepared a feast, and we come together and we both finna feast. It ain't one of us coming with all the dishes and the other one coming with an appetite. We coming together and we bringing our attributes. We bringing our strengths, and it may look a little different. It may, like, you don't have to have the same exact strengths. It's a quote that says, our strength is in our differences, not our similarities. So it's okay. Understand, you're not getting with your twin. You could be corporate and they could be an entrepreneur. You could be an entrepreneur, they could be corporate. You could be extrovert, he could be introvert. You could be introvert, he could be extrovert. What has to matter is your foundation, your belief system, how you believe about what I call the 5 F's from my book, Single is Not a Curse. When you single and you start to date, when you dating this person, you want to understand them 5 F's. So faith, y'all, faith need to be the same. That's foundational. So if you Christian, you can't be with an atheist. If you Christian, you can't be with a Muslim. If you Christian, you can't be with and some of y'all mad about that, but it's not the same thing. I know it's a lot of Muslims say, oh no, we serve the same God. But if Jesus Christ is not the Son of God, then that's not the same God. So that has to be clear. I know it's tight, but it's right. And people get upset about that. You can't be with no Pan-Africanist. You can't be with no Black Hebrew Israelite. You can't be with somebody who does not have Jesus Christ as their Lord and Savior. If Jesus Christ is your Lord and Savior, that faith. Next thing you want to understand is family. Like their family dynamic, your family dynamic, what they want in the family between the two of y'all, what you want. Because if you want kids and he don't want kids, y'all not a fit. If he can't keep his family at bay and have them stay in their lane, but you can, y'all not gonna fit. Next, you want to think about finances. So you want to see if you're a saver, then he need to be a saver. If you're a spender, then he need to be a spender or a saver. So y'all need to complement. So if you spend, then he save. If you save, then he spend. And y'all find a healthy balance because, and you got to be able to agree and you got to find a happy medium. You don't have to be exactly the same, but you got to have a happy medium because the finances can work against and start to strip away at the fabric of the relationship. The next F, what you want to think about is friends. If you got a bunch of good, solid friends and he hang with the killers, he hang with the dope boys, he hang with just a bunch of slaughterhouse boys, that might not work out because it's a strong possibility he's gonna be led astray because as my mom and dad used to tell me all the time, you will be like who you be around. And then fitness. So if you like to eat right and you like to work out and you like to be healthy, then he need to like to eat right and work out and be healthy. If you unhealthy and you not eating right, you not working out, then he need to be into wanting to work out and eat right. If both of y'all don't eat right, don't work out, y'all finna be a disaster because that lifestyle gonna lead to poor mental health. If you're not eating right and sleeping right and working out, you're gonna be metabolically unhealthy and then you're gonna be mentally unstable and y'all just gonna be at each other. Now them 5 F's, we didn't talk about that. I never heard anybody else put them together like that, but I wrote this book in probably 2014, 2015. It's on Amazon. Single is Not a Curse. So if you single, get that book, Single is Not a Curse. Because it's just helping you understand that for those of us who didn't have an extended single season, I'm showing you what we missed and what you need to, instead of looking at us who married and being jealous, you need to see the beauty of the season that you're in and get these things in order so you don't go through what we went through in our relationships because we didn't have those things in order. And some of us, we didn't fit in those areas and we worked it out, but that's just it's a testament to humans' adaptability. And then my wife and I being Christian, the power of God. So although we're not the same or we're not necessarily a fit in every area, well, yeah, we actually are. We actually are. I was about to say, well, my family a little more, my mom and sister is a handful, which my wife, her family, they're not problematic. So my mom and sister have had, they done put my wife through some mess. But my wife's family has never done anything to me. So that right there had my wife knew that and knew they was that toxic and that messy at times. She might have not have been with me, but I didn't really, bring them in too much or deal with them too much. But then I'm also the type that I check them and I let them know, if you disrespect my wife, you disrespect me. You can't see me. You can't talk to me. You can't get nothing from me if you don't respect my other half. So my family know I'm not the type of man that's gonna play the middle in both ends. And just because my mama raised me, I'm gonna just let her say what she want to do and do what she want to do and have carte blanche in my life when I done chosen and be wedded a wife. It's like the Bible say, a man will forsake his mother and father and cleave unto his wife. So I believe that and I live by that. And so my wife knows that she's protected and she knows that she comes first and she knows that her voice reigns supreme over any other human voice, because that's the way God ordained it and he structured it. So you have to look at them 5 F's and see, do y'all either fit together like a puzzle piece, or are y'all going to clash? Like, what is it, oil and water or something? And so think about that. But hey, this Tony Gasson. Hey, make sure you made it this far. Make sure you click the link in the description box to see your opportunity to invest in the YouTube channel and partake in the possible potential future revenue of the channel. This is something that I'm doing my due diligence by promoting it, because the company who got it SEC regulated and did my Form C and all of those things, what set me up legally with the SEC, they had to put a lot of money into that, a lot of time and money into that. So that's why I'm promoting, to where if it's for you, it's for you. If it's not, it's not. If we don't hit the minimum, then okay, oh well, that's a sign of the times. And the company realized that that's the risk they're taking by doing this with creators. But for those of us creators who are willing to give something back to our supporters and allow our supporters to invest in our future earnings, then that's why this exists, and that's why these partnerships are happening. And I spoke to a gentleman who he allowed his audience to buy 50% of his channel, and he loved the experience, and he had no issues with the company. He said the payouts are on time, they on point every month. So I did my due diligence in vetting this company, and it was certain things that I did not let them do, certain things I did not let them say. So I'm holding them accountable. But they put a lot of time and energy, and of course they had to raise millions to even get this company off the ground, and they got a full staff. So I'm not allowed to speak numbers on here. So you got to click the link in the description, go to the page. You can read the numbers. You can see all the percentage points and everything. You can see where we at on the way to the goal. And you could just make a decision if you want to be a part of it or not. And then when you click the Q&A, if you have a question that's different than the question that's already listed, then just pose your question. And then when I see it, if I don't know the answer, I'll double check and get the correct answer, and I'll answer you. That's me answering the Q&A. It's not them, it's me answering, because it's my channel drop. So based on SEC regulations, I got to answer the questions. But there's a support email in there if it's something technical that you need help with. You'll see it in the Q&A. But hey, for those of you who have already supported, thank you. God bless you. And like I say, if we get there, we get there. If we don't, we don't. It just let me know I follow the ordering that the Lord got for my life. God bless you. We'll talk soon. Oh, shout out to the moderators. Thank you. And if you see, if this was a premiere, I don't know if it was a premiere or not. I don't know if I'll set it up like that, if I'm going to set it up like that. But if the people, if I got my chat right, and should be just a Blessed Tribe, you could just click the button and say join if you want to join the Blessed Tribe. And another thing, shout out to my Patreon supporters, because it's just a support tribe, and I try to send little blessings over there and things of that nature. But shout out to my Patreon supporters as well. God bless you. We'll talk soon.